be incredibly difficult. And it's honestly pretty tough for Camille to create early advantages against Ornn, who is so durable and matches up very well into these melee matchups. So I think I really am preferring the FlyQuest draft.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift for the 2020 LCS Summer Final. FlyQuest have beaten the odds and made it here twice in a row this year. This time they could hoist the trophy. And what better team to do it against than Santorans and Wild Turtles' old teammates and the winningest team in LCS history, TSM, with Doublelift, Bjergsen, and Biofrost back together. Spica has been incredible in the playoff run so far. Broken Blade adding texture to this game. Exceptional top laner on the Camille, a player to watch in this game.
And we already had some pretty interesting level 1 starts here. So neither team actually ran into each other, but the level 1s have been a pretty big discussion because FlyQuest has had such creative ones. On camera, we saw TSM walking down to the brush, but I was watching the minimap, and we actually got to see Graves and Ornn wrapping around that topside tri-brush with Ignar in the Baron pit, throwing a binding over the wall to catch anyone who would have been in there. So both teams had a pre-prepared level 1 that they attempted, and that does really create this interesting thing going forward because I'm going to be so excited to see how many creative level 1s these teams have, and if they do end up on the same side of the map, what that clash will look like going forward.
I mean, it's going to be an exciting clash. I'm sure they have level 1s prepared for all the games in this series. Hoping it goes to 5. We may well get this one here, as so many of the LCS series have done so. Got topside starts for both duo lanes, which means if you're doing, fairly standard runs, around 3 minutes, they're around bot lane, they're level 3, and they're going to get some action down there on the 2-on-2. It can be hard to force a kill with a Karma, but with Lux, if you land a binding and your Caitlyn is ready right away, you can turn light binding into a Yordle snap trap, and that is about 400 damage at the drop of a hat.
I'm going to be really interested to also track this mid lane here because Power of Evil, he should have the advantage in the early levels especially. Victor can outrange and trade effectively both with the E as well as if Bjergsen ever uses his bomb, you can walk past and look for Q trades. You do have the advantage in that regard. As Zilean gets more levels, your wave clear becomes really, really strong. You can kind of compete more with that and just try to avoid fighting the Victor and more focus on fighting the minion wave. But Power of Evil has been such a strong laner, and I do agree with the interview we saw from him earlier where, sometimes the FlyQuest members aren't individually getting as much credit as they do deserve. They are respected now as a strong team, but they do have some really dominant individual players also. I do not, so I can take over. Yes, but thus far, we do have Broken Blade pushing up here on this top side. He actually did go Grasp, so he's really giving a nod to the early laning power of the Ornn. If you are looking more towards scaling and being able to actually fight the Ornn in a 1v1 later on, you would want to play more for the Conqueror. That is going to help you out better on. But when you are playing Grasp, this is going to make the laning phase a lot easier against the Ornn, because if you go Conqueror on the Camille, he goes for the Grasp on the Ornn. The Brittle procs, in addition to those Grasp procs, can make the melee matchup actually quite difficult for Camille in the early stages. We do see Broken Blade, though, trading pretty well, and both junglers heading up towards that top side are going to be spotting each other over by the Scuttle Crab, and Santorin will be able to grab that top one. Spica should be able to easily grab the second crab on that bottom side for himself, though, and both junglers likely going to reset after that. I will say I'm impressed thus far by the TSM laning on the bottom side. If Turtle and Ignar can't get the push in this matchup with the Caitlyn and Lux, it is a situation where your 2v2 becomes actually so much weaker. One of the greatest strengths of this Caitlyn Lux lane is actually how difficult it becomes for your opponents to farm when you have them push to the tower. And this is because of the extra area that the tower actually moves from the map, so that you can't be using that area necessarily to dodge, right? Caitlyn can set up traps on one side of the tower, you can drop the Luxie on the other side of the tower, and all of a sudden it becomes nearly impossible for Doublelift to farm in that type of situation without opening himself up to potential Piltover Peacemakers, to Lux Light Bindings, and all of these sorts of things. So, if you are pushed in, it's so much harder to set up those types of situations for the Caitlyn and the Lux. So if they're going to have to play this lane defensively, they won't be getting nearly as much out of it as they would have otherwise hoped. But overall, still, things looking pretty good here for FlyQuest. If Broken Blade can force an early teleport here, he'd be feeling like he's in a pretty good position. Anytime you can actually fully reset the wave and force your opponent to teleport back, you are going to be in a situation where you can just walk it straight back to lane. And this is something Solo, I think, does so well, just kind of sensing that there are multiple members coming up here from TSM. Bjergsen went missing from mid lane. Spica, they hadn't had eyes on him, so they know that he could actually be around here and looking to make something happen. So Solo just backing off early averts a bit of a disaster there, because if you get dove at that turret, lose all the experience from the minions, lose all that additional gold, that is going to be quite problematic. But it doesn't cost TSM much. They get Broken Blade back to base. He can pick up that first early Sheen completion, which is going to help a lot, especially being able to amplify the true damage of that second Q activation with the Sheen really does help you to trade out and fight effectively against these tanks. So that's something he's definitely going to be looking to do. I can hear you.
On my screen yet again. I didn't miss first blood, so happy to see that one. Bot lane within 6 CS. Mid lane, of course, Bjergsen leading so far. That can be hard to do on Zilean, but impressively done all the same. Thank you so much, Azale, for the solo casting. And no one has told me they can't hear me yet, so hopefully all is well as bot pressure keeps coming in, and Santorin walks top side to help make sure that Solo can finish the push here. Broken Blade is close to level 6. That could be dangerous if there is a jungle combo coming through, but he's sitting in Tribrush. He's outside of XP range, says, okay, Speak is not here yet. Cool, you're ready to push this one in, and they are not looking for the dive.
Yeah, they are just looking to protect, from this situation. They know the Broken Blade is relatively strong. If you do get counter ganked, unless the Camille is already so low, it's such an incredibly risky dive. You don't want to give Camille, who is that potential win condition for TSM, an easy way in. But because Graves is up there on that top side protecting Solo, we do have Spica grabbing an early dragon here for TSM. They do like to play quite a bit towards these. We heard the analyst desk talking about, despite the fact that they often play towards those early dragons, they're not always the ones completing the soul. They are sometimes a team that goes for the early dragons, then uses that to buy themselves time to play towards the side lanes, to play towards split bush, so that your opponent is going to be pushed back very far on their soul win condition. And I think that's something that they could look to do this game. Even if you just grab the first 2 dragons, then it's going to be so long before FlyQuest can force you to come fight at a dragon that you're not prepared for, and that'll allow Broken Blade to get work done in those side lanes with Camille.
We look back on the top side of the map as the Sheen comes through for damage. How about Bramble Vest? Obviously very useful. Pretty much every top laner, if you are ever the one who doesn't win against the attack damage champion, you pretty much just go Bramble Vest, and it just makes it so much easier because they don't really heal off poking you, and suddenly that's a difference you don't have to worry about quite so much anymore. So Solo is going to play weak side for a while, going to do his very best to not get outscaled for too long, but once you're at 3 items, you can't help it. Camille's going to win that one, and so FlyQuest getting an advantage before that happens might be the goal here as mid lanes go back and forth. They get the first few recalls off. Now Pee-wee has already burned his TP. It's going to be Bjergsen's time to do it now, as he took an early recall to get his extra items in, but now Ash going to burn teleport for wave control.
Yep, and he's going to be feeling really happy about his positioning. The early farming on Zilean is actually so hard. I think it's probably one of the hardest champions in the game to just farm purely with auto attacks and the bombs at early levels before you have a lot of ranks in it and AP. It's actually very easy to just mess up your farming. So Bjergsen, extremely impressive on this champion. It is one of his best. He's definitely one of the very best in the entire world at this champ. So impressive stuff being up on that Victor. And I think for the Ornn, it kind of goes in waves, right? In the early lane, you can actually potentially fight up against this Camille. It's harder to do because he is playing Grasp. But as you said, once Camille gets to 2-3 items, you aren't going to win the extended fight. So your job becomes just mitigating loss, right? Stepping forward and using your HP to defend the tower, to clear out waves. And Ornn does have pretty strong wave clear, when it is just that 1v1. So you just look to try to defend the tower as much as you can and delay the Camille from getting access to that turret.
So we got some nice early pressure there. Bind's going to land it for Biofrost. They're not going to go for the arrow on top. Turtle, of course, considered cleanse during champs. Like I saw the icon initially, but is ending up with heal. Decides it's going to be enough to just have an early Mikhails from Ignar, who, by the way, rush Swifty boots. He actually wants people to outrange and get away. There is slow resist on the item to get away from some Biofrost bindings or the what would be, the chain coming out. But now Speak going to find himself in a fight in the mid lane. PoE forces the shield out, deals some decent damage, but does burn his ult to do so. Herald's taking damage. Solo going to go for the play, look for the knock up there. Broken Blade going to immune it and look for Santorin as it's going to be the spike going through. Spica grabs that one. Now the revive going to be forced out as well, but is there going to be a kill anyway? Broken Blade a bit low, wants to flash the wall, does so. Solo cannot get the knock up. Shows division, and they're all going to get out. Spica was able to recall in the pit. He would have had to have burned Flash. Instead, it's Pee-wee now being rooted. Another shield comes through. Bomb's going to land as well, but honestly, a good stun from Pee-wee keeps him safe as well. As Double walks forward, he will not get that kill either. Shield still keeping everyone safe. No kills on the board, just Shelly. Poor Shelly losing her life.
And TSM do come out on top. It is a slight advantage, but they're the ones who do grab that Herald to trade of flashes, in a number of different areas. TSM did spend more summoners in the end. Ignar, pretty clutch exhaust, honestly, over the wall there to stop a lot of the damage coming out from Doublelift to keep Power of Evil alive, who had to expend his flash very early on in that exchange when Spica came in from behind. But both teams playing a relatively passive game, and this is something where I think TSM are going to be the ones who are feeling a little bit more pressure, perhaps, to ramp things up, to get things going. But that being said, if they are able to collect this next dragon, any potential soul force from FlyQuest is going to be looking more like 25, 30 minutes into the game, and that's not something that they're really going to have to then worry about deciding the fate of the game.
Well, I want to point out that the Targon's Buckler got completed just past 10 minutes, and it was pretty much an instant recall from Ignar there as well. So he's got a Sightstone online, and right now Biofrost does not. You can still see the icon down there. That is the Tier 1 Spell Thieves, and even though they did have early lane pressure, they were the ones mostly pushing in. It's still the TSM duo who lost their first turret. It's the TSM duo who have worse items right now in the game, and it's the TSM support who is not able to earn as much money as the opposition here. So more wards on the map, better items on the board, and FlyQuest having a small lead in the 2-on-2. We'll see if the vision means anything, because this Drake is spawning in 15 seconds.
There's something else we haven't really talked about yet is how effective I think Warren itemization is going to be this game. Zilean is not a tank killer, right? And that is really their only big AP threat. Sure, there's Karma, but Karma, again, is going to be building support. It's not going to be a pure AP build, so just the HP and armor stacking is going to be very effective here for Solo, as Camille, Ashe, as well as Set. It's going to be great against them. Could be in some trouble here.
You can see a lot of damage on Brookblade. He knows he's flashless. The ult is not going to matter. First blood comes through for Santorin, and a good sidestep. Wild Turtle gets away from the arrow that would have meant him death. And as the wave gets cleared out, a nice ult from Ignar means there's no tower dive. Spica walks bot lane and will at most get 2 plates off the Herald summon. Top lane, of course, gets attacked. They get first blood, and they're getting a ton of damage up there as well.
They are. TSM will grab the dragon here eventually, you would assume, and we'll see how much they can actually get off this turret. But that sidestep was so critical from Turtle because he didn't have his flash. It's not as though he was just saving the flash in case he couldn't sidestep it. He had to sidestep that, or he probably would have just died. It would have been a pretty easy wraparound from Spica. Dunk him in, grab that kill, grab the first tower. So that little sidestep did save a lot of extra gold going into the pockets of TSM. It prevented the first tower. It prevented that kill, which would have been first blood too. But TSM still trying to continue pressuring. There's 1 plate down here. Bjergsen has made the roam.
A flash for Spica. Turtle is not going to live through this one. There should be no way out. Double bomb comes through. Double lift gets the kill. Spica gets away from the bind, and this turret down about 500 health. It's tanky, but it's still going to fall. First turret goes to TSM. It's still going to keep this game very close in goal, but it's 2 Drakes and a gold lead for TSM.
And also, Solo roamed bot to try to prevent this. They knew it was happening. So look at Camille up on that top side with your Sheen completed and the Q resets working on that tower. I expect at least 2 turret plates to go over to Camille if he stays up here. If he's nervous about the Graves, maybe you back off, but I think you go for it. You should be able to get at least 2 tower plates. You just got first tower on that bottom side. You have a 2 dragon to 0 lead. And that is fantastic for TSM. Big win for them off of the roam, punishing the fact that Turtle did not have that flash. They were able to capitalize and really win on both sides of the map. So here it is one more time. Spica was spotted out, but Bjergsen is behind you. Flashing in, grabs the Nimbus Cloak. There's really just nowhere for Turtle to go because he was down on that flash. So really nice pull in, setting it up into the Karma route that would have been coming through, into the double bomb. TSM layering that effectively, and no chance of a chase down from FlyQuest.
Well done right here. TSM 700 gold in the lead. I will say the one who is going to be the big split push threat does not have the lead, but honestly your AD carry getting first blood and sharing in all those turret plates is going to feel absolutely great. Doublelift by far faster the first item spike. He's got Essence Reaver on the books. Broken Blade, to be fair, already has Trinity Force done, so that's going to feel good as well. And TSM in the driver's seat here. They're going to be on the way towards Infernal Soul. That's going to feel pretty good for teamfight burst damage. Again, FlyQuest are 4 Squishies and an Ornn, so if there is Broken Blade jumping on a Wild Turtle, that is exactly the kind of soul you want.
It is, for sure. And on the other side, though, there's potentially a lot of poke that could benefit from that Infernal Soul here, from FlyQuest. If you can grab that, any little bit of chip damage from the Lux, from the Victor, from Wild Turtle here becomes that much more threatening. That becomes incredibly difficult to deal with. I do expect FlyQuest will play for that third dragon. And then it just becomes a matter of, do TSM actually contest for that, right? You have the Triforce done quite early here on the Camille. Rod of Ages as well as the Lost Chapter done. A lot of the critical items have come through from TSM. They don't have to fight for that 5v5, though. They can still play for gold advantages. If FlyQuest sends too many members there, they can just look to take towers elsewhere and extend their lead in that way. But if they do look to fight at that dragon, it is going to be explosive, because if TSM win that, if they move to 3 dragons to 0, still no team in the top 4 of playoffs has lost a single game when they do have a 3 dragon to 0 lead, and that is throughout the entire summer split.
Well, right now, TSM poised to play around the mid lane as they shove in, clear the wards. Biofrost gets found, but you can see there's too much threat nearby, and Azilian says, just don't try. It's not worth it, and FlyQuest back right off. They get nothing out of that one. I mean, wisely so, Bjergsen just looks sideways at them with the grimace on his face, and they go, understood.
I hate that I know exactly what picture you mean. I think everyone could just see it in their head immediately. But exactly.
That's what got.
Yeah, exactly. Ignar's like, whoa, sorry, bud, backing off. But FlyQuest going to be the ones to take that opportunity to start up the Rift Herald for themselves. They do grab that. Obviously, the second Herald is less valuable because there is not that guaranteed turret plate gold to get, but it is still very nice to do. And what has become a fairly common strategy is actually the team that is avoiding going for those early dragon fights, in this case FlyQuest, will often grab the second Herald as a way to better their chances at that third dragon fight. So I am expecting Santorin to either drop this, mid or bot around the time that dragon is spawning to try to force a response out of TSM and potentially gain an advantage around that dragon pit for FlyQuest.
Yeah. What's kind of amazing to me, though, is the fact that TSM actually have the gold lead. Because so often we see one team spends their time getting the Drakes, and so the other team is able to spend their jungle attention getting more ganks off, and specifically getting Rift Herald, the first one. And so you often see one team has 2 Drakes, the other team has a 500 gold lead. But it's TSM with 2 Drakes and the 500 gold lead. They've gotten every single neutral objective, every single turret this game. They've traded kills back and forth. The farm's pretty close, but TSM are showing us better League of Legends across this game so far. Third Drake spawns in 15 seconds. As you mentioned, Santorin does have the second Herald. You can see FlyQuest are trying to play around mid, but Doublelift and co are already here, ready to play for the wave. Right, Volley hits the first 3 melees, Bjergsen bomb comes down, that'll kill all the casters. And honestly, this Herald is going to fairly unreliably do anything because TSM have the mid push.
Yep, but we'll see if he still wants to drop it. Ignar maybe getting caught out here. Nice little Glacial Augment slow. Does force the Orin ulti and a flash off Ignar. So that's a big win for TSM, and now they say, all right, let's go. Because that is the only go button for FlyQuest. But they have dropped the Herald mid, and they're going to try to force a response from TSM, so now they're rushing the Dragon.
They're going to try their damnedest. Not sure it's going to work for them, but they're certainly going to attempt it. We got Broken Blade going for the flank. He's, I believe, never walked through a ward just yet. He's going to be seen just now with the Drake ward at 2,400. Smite fight. 1 level up for Santorin. Here comes the battle. Broken Blade the front line. Finds Santorin himself. Drake gets taken down, then the first kill comes in. The other revived by Zillion. So far, so good for TSM. Finally, trade comes through, though. How about the re-engage? A stun on Wild Turtle. Gets to walk away. Stays alive. Flashing in for Doublelift. They almost have the kill. He's going to flash to the wall and just barely stay safe. Looking for the re-engage now towards Biofrost. Easily blast plants away. End result is a 1-for-1 and the third Drake to TSM.
And as I said, every team in the top 4 of the LCS playoffs was undefeated throughout playoffs as well as the summer split with that 3 dragon to 0 lead. It forces so many difficult decisions from your opponents because now FlyQuest has no choice. They must fight at every dragon pretty much from now until infinity. So TSM, they got the Orin ultimate out of this, and this is what allowed them to just start this up because that is the only reliable engage. And then Broken Blade over the wall, found that flanking angle we talked about in Champ Select. This is the kind of fight that TSM is signing up for. The Zillion Revive is going to be much less valuable because Caitlyn is on the other side, so the trap is layered on top. That Caitlyn ultimate just slipping over the shoulder there of Biofrost, forcing Doublelift to flash out, but TSM going to be feeling really happy about their position in this game. FlyQuest is right dead even with the gold, but they can't afford to slip up ever again in this game around any dragon. One pick, one smite steal, one anything, and they get the permanent buff over on the other side.
Yeah, if you want to put it sort of mathematically, and this is sort of backed up by a lot of data you can look for in solo queue and things like that, Dragon Soul is roughly equivalent to getting Baron, in that you get these permanent stats, right? You get permanent health or permanent damage on hit or whatever, and Baron is 1,500 gold, a bunch of XP, which turns into a BF sword or your death cap combine or whatever else, which is permanent damage and a lead and whatnot. And so functionally, TSM are about to get a Baron with very, very little risk. As far as the amount that they're expected to win based off that objective happening, that's kind of how the data has lined up. As you mentioned, though, 3 Drakes to 0 has been forcing so many rough fights from the losing team that every playoff team has closed out with that kind of situation. So, mince your words a little bit there in that case. So, yes, TSM in a very good spot. FlyQuest realistically do not want to give away what is sort of the easiest Baron ever, and thus will have to try to contest. It's going to be hard for them.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have vision, guess what? Who cares? You can't just back off. You have to still fight it. And that's why it is so powerful to be in these situations. And that's why it's honestly risky to wait until the third dragon to contest. Because if you do lose that third dragon fight, you are now between a rock and a hard place. You have to contest for the rest of the game. We'll see if they can find a pick here onto Ignar and Santorin as they are about to face check.
Yeah, that's the value of Lux, and this is why I value Lux so highly. Even though Karma, I think, has a very good laning phase, Lux does a lot more. As you've got that face check, you can ward safely all the time. The bind, of course, very good as well, but TSM had bot lane pressure. They were able to stack up those first couple of Drakes, and even though FlyQuest got a kill top lane off of Graves ganking once the flash was down, TSM got pressure through bot lane. They got the pressure, they got the Drake stacked up, and now they're going to find another 2v1 as Bjergsen is here, and Solo cannot run away from this one. He's going to try to dodge the stun, gets a knockup, gets some good damage, and all he can do is force a Zillion ult. Now the kill's going to come through. Bjergsen on the board with number 2.
Nicely done there. They get the TP. They know they need to get this Camille going. You have to be playing from ahead of the Ornn, and you want to get towards this Death Stance. You want to get towards that lifesteal so you can start to shrug off a lot of what Ornn can do. And Bjergsen finding an effective teleport. They roam down Biofrost to make it a sure thing, but really intelligent play from Solo to just not waste any of his summoners. Once they are behind you like that, there's no running away from a Glacial Augment Zillion who can also just plop his E on you and really make you go incredibly slow.
So far, it's a 1,300 gold lead and 3 Drakes to 0, and it's going to be Dragon Soul in 1 minute and 12 seconds if FlyQuest don't do something about this. Unfortunately for FlyQuest, they have been unable to do anything about it. They've gotten kills off of some ganks and off of TSM taking a fight that they wanted. Otherwise, they have not been able to really pick the fight. It's been a good ult from Broken Blade to keep Santorin out of the pit. He can do it again. It's a lot like Mordekaiser. Let me just press R. Let me just stick you in there. Cool, okay, you're stuck. You're not going to be able to do anything about this. This is our Drake. You leave him in the Hexagon and nothing else you can do. So, 45 seconds. Can FlyQuest get this set up first? Can they take vision control? Can they own this river and try to get a fight for themselves?
Yep, and you talk about that Camille ultimate. It's also a fantastic setup for the Zillion bombs because you can't just kite out of it. It's such an easy, almost point and click it becomes where Bjergsen just drops the Zillion bombs onto the Camille, and the Camille is on top of you. You're locked in the Octagon, and then you get stunned up through that. TSM do have first move here, and you can see that Doublelift is actually down in that bottom lane, pushing that out, so trying to force a response down there. He will now move up. Broken Blade is going to be, again, coming from that flanking position, but TSM doesn't have full vision, so they have to be careful about a possible engage, and Solo will have his ultimate up here in a couple seconds.
He's around, he's nearby. Speaking not rooted up just yet. Mid lane going to be pushed in by the Camille, and the team moves back and forth, and at some point the fight has to begin. FlyQuest, when do they pull the trigger? You can see TSM playing nice and far back. Broken Blade still waiting on the wings, not going in just yet, sitting on his own control ward, knows he's not spotted right now, and now Turtle's going to fight back for vision control. Try to knock that ward down, does so. Now Broken Blade has to play it around the backside as well. Mid lane can be pushed. Here comes the ulti in for Solo. They want this fight right now. They're going to go for double knock on the back line. FlyQuest going in for the Drake. Can they get the smite? Level lead into Santorin. Burst comes in. Santorin's gone already. A 1-for-0 so far, and Zillion's still waiting on the ulti. FlyQuest have already lost the fight, and it's barely begun. Solo running low on health. No damage coming through to the back line of TSM. Damage through the power of Evil trying to run away. Broken Blade will be revived. Yes, he will. 2-for-0 so far. Looking at a third as Wild Turtle's forced to run away. Devil could be the target. Not knocked up, though. Solo running out of health. Dragon Soul claim. Already the fight is 3-for-0. Looking for a fourth. Doublelift claims the kill credit onto Solo. Broken Blade claims Wild Turtle. And Ignar can only watch as he runs away. And TSM can look for the kill. They're surely going to find it. One more auto. And it's time to go for Baron.
They are going for the Baron. They got the Dragon Soul. They got the Bud Light Ace. And what a dominant team fight win there from TSM. They have taken full control of the game. You can see the faces of FlyQuest members in the player cams there. They know their game one just got incredibly hard to come back.
FlyQuest never had a lead in this game. It was TSM the whole way through so far. Hot performance play, let's watch that ace again.
Yep, and you can see those bombs landed on Santorin, and then Broken Blade just goes straight in. Santorin was chunked out, incredibly low. Broken Blade flashes on him, takes him down. Solo had been whittled down as well as he had been separated from the squad, and then the bombs onto Power Evil's head. Broken Blade just charges in with that Zillion ultimate. The fact that he got knocked down there, got the revive, allowed him to come back up, and then it is Turtle here in the backline trying to escape, but Zillion Bomb on the head of Broken Blade. He goes in, and they continue the chase down. They have the Soul, they have the Baron, they have everything they need to win this game, and you can even see in the corner, they're getting another kill on Power of Evil at the same time.
Beautifully done right there. No way out for FlyQuest. And with a 5,000 gold lead, TSM have everything they could need. Infernal Soul is on. They stacked that early in this one. They've got Baron already, and it's time to kill more than just 2 turrets in this game. There's so much they're going to get off this Red Bull Baron.
They really are. There's going to be not a lot that FlyQuest can do, especially with the Victor dead. He is their best source of wave clear against this Baron push, that magic damage, being able to help knock down some of those minions. The empowered E laser is incredibly important here. And TSM is just going to extend this gold lead further and further. They have knocked down the towers in that top lane. They are now going to get that mid tier 2. They're pushing the bottom tier 2 as well. Camille's going to have access to that pretty easily as the minions do come up. I expect them to get all of the outers off of this push, and that's going to put them at an 8,000 plus gold lead here at 26 minutes. That is just absurd. Bjergsen is sitting on 17 Magi stacks, fully stacked Rod of Ages. He's going to be soon close to his death cap, at which people are coming back with 100% HP at that point. I mean, he's level 16 already, for gosh sakes. He is going to be monstrously strong.
Absolutely, he's going to be. TSM monstrously strong so far into this one, despite an early drop in the very beginning of the tournament to Golden Guardians and their first playoff match, a 0-0, just completely slaughtered. And then when they rematched them, they lost the first 2, had to come back and reverse sweep it. They've taken win after win after win, and they are on their way to their 7th LCS title. Yes, it's a full best of 5. Yes, there's more to play, but TSM so far are showing they are a class above. We'll see what the adaptations are. We know FlyQuest can bounce back, of course, but TSM are the team to look at so far in Game 1.
I mean, they have been incredible here in game number 1. We also have to remember they lost that first series. They were playing with Treats. They swapped over to Biofrost. They have had a lot of success, down in that bottom lane. Their 2v2s have been very, very good, I think, throughout the remainder of playoffs with Biofrost and Double Lift. And they obviously got a lot of credit, deservedly so, for their series against Team Liquid, where they were really playing well in that bottom lane. So we'll see if that can continue to be a trend for them. But FlyQuest, just unable to contest at those dragons, and that's really what this game has been about so far. TSM does not need to rush it, really, at this point. They can play for the side lanes. They can play for the split push. Broken Blade has a Death Stance plus the Tiamat now, so he has the incredibly fast wave clear. He can tank up and out-sustain a lot of the damage that Ornn is doing to him. And he is really now in that position to succeed, where the rest of the game just isn't that fun playing 1v1 for Ornn.
Nope. It's pretty over for a lot of these solo laners here on the FlyQuest side. These matchups are not going to get any better for you as time goes
gold. On. Oh, no.
Oh, man. Yeah, the supports almost got him beat. It's a rough one over there. Broken Blade's got about 2,000 on him. Yeah, sorry, buddy. This one's not going to be an easy one. You can look for a team fight. Miracles can happen. Infernal Soul does not give you durability. The carry's been building out some items, but Double Lift is, of course, building out damage, as he should. He's fairly safe. He's got his Zillion on his team. But miracles can happen. Big plays can come through. We'll see if it's possible here. Santorin going to try to wave clear. TSM getting ready for the siege. And if they wanted to, they could wait a minute 15 and go for Elder Dragon, or they could siege the inhibitor turrets right now.
And the difference in power between these two mid laners right now is really ludicrous. Bjergsen is so much stronger, and he plays such flawless Zillion games that it's hard to depend upon a mistake from him. It's hard to say, oh, well, maybe he just won't get his ultimate off in time, or, oh, maybe he'll misclick. It just doesn't really seem to happen when the guy is playing the Zillion. He very rarely makes those sorts of errors. So, with that death cap complete, he's up to 17 stacks on the Magi's. He is going to be so hard to deal with.
There's a bind to the CC chain, but Spica was able to flash before the gravity well could kill him, and so it means FlyQuest cannot quite get that pick. Thankfully, he's tanky. Thankfully, his Merc Treads. Sure, all those things are true. Meanwhile, look at the tank on this side. Solo, he's out of health. He's gone. He can't ult. He can't do anything. He slows one person. Who cares? Out they go. Easy pick for TSM, and hey, Elder Dragon's alive. while Solo's still dead.
Solo going to be down. He does have his teleport. I don't know if FlyQuest can afford to try to give this up. If TSM are going to rush towards this, I feel like you have to try to go for the steal. You have to try to get some level of contest going on. I mean, they're 9,000 or so gold behind at this point, plus all of the thousands of gold worth of value that the Infernal still has. If you give over Elder 2, it just feels like it's completely GG. So even if it's a low chance, you got to go
They're
for
taking
it.
the fight. Saying no chance at a steal. Let's just take the 5v4. No problem at all. Speaking coming around the wall to come for this one as well. Nice snipe, nice kill, Broken Blade on a killing spree. And okay, now maybe we look at the Dragon. Yes, TP is up when Solo respawns in 4 seconds, but well, there's still the channel time and there's still TSM to deal with. Biofrost level to 13, and here comes the play. Once again, trying for the 4v5. Once again, stun on Power of Evil. Nice knockup for Solo, buys some time. Good damage on a Bjergsen, forced the ulti early on a Broken Blade. Now double it, it's on the wrong side as Centauran finds that kill. Dunk comes over, Spica sets it up, and he's gonna knock him down. 2 more kills for TSM's side, and the chase is in. Centauran's gotta run away. There could be more chase. He's looking for Broken Blade, as now FlyQuest do not have the way out. Biofrost flashes in. Here's the rest of the squad. There's 2 more kills. Another ace for the TSM side, and the Elder Dragon is a freebie.
They're going to get this, and then the Baron is back up, so they can take the Elder, march straight over to that Baron, start that up if they do want. We'll see if they decide to reset, because it is pretty low on health here, and they don't have a lot of sustained damage with these 3 members, so likely they will wait for double. But again, TSM not taking the risk of a 50-50. They go over the wall, they get the team fight win, they secure the Elder Dragon here, and this is an incredibly impressive Game 1 showing in the finals from TSM.
Absolutely beautiful stuff right there. Elder Dragon only on a 3, but still a good one as the fight breaks out. They start a 5v4.
Exactly. They don't allow them to have the chance of even getting in range of a steal. They go over the wall, they take down the Lux, no chance for him to escape. And then Broken Blade, again, going very aggressively. This fight does get close because look at the damage that Solo was able to get out on the Bjergsen. That was almost purely from him getting Bjergsen low as Bjergsen tried to walk past Solo to be in range of an ultimate from Broken Blade. So they did force out that Zillion ultimate. It wasn't the most effective one. Bjergsen was chunked low. It gave them a little bit of a chance. But then track Broken Blade there. The E off the wall, gets max distance, flashes it in, takes down the jungler, and now TSM going straight to the Baron. You just can't fight this team when they have Elder right now. So FlyQuest is betting it all on a Miracle-based defense. They've got to try to delay. They're hoping that maybe they can withstand the Elder buff for this 130 and farm it up and make something happen later on, but the chances are getting tough.
Oh, Centauran,
you are dead.
You are 3 levels behind this man. I don't know how you get out of this one. He's going to decide to, you know what? I've got no vision. You know, Hotshot came down, didn't see anyone, but I know I'm alone. I don't know where your teammates are. They could be in some part of that jungler lane. Let's just not int this game away. I respect the fact that he had the free kill and said, but the 1% chance this screws up, we're not going to delay the game here.
Yeah, I actually really like that. You know, I do think it's a very intelligent play because, as you said, there's almost no world in which you lose this game. So even if that is like an 80% chance that FlyQuest can't get down there and stop that, 80% chance is worse than the chance you already have in winning the game. So you have to look at it like that, right? You have to play the odds. And the odds are, if they just play it slow, this is a done deal.
This is a done deal, pretty sure. There's some damage on a Solo, stunning him up again. Turret's still alive, but Solo's at half health from the top laner and the jungle tank, just hitting a couple of times. That is the tankiest member on the FlyQuest side. It gets worse for everyone else as mid lane tries to be cleared, but a single auto attack will knock that turret down. Bot inhib is already gone. That's hitting next to turrets now. Top pushed in. That turret's at 15%. Second inhib is down. Whole squad goes top side. FlyQuest, when do they choose to go? Elder Dragon buff still on for 10 seconds on 3 of TSM. And it means that FlyQuest will wait and they will lose 3 inhibs, and now they will ult in. Solo finds a single knockup and is dunked back in on a 5. Even Turtles float away, and goodbye. The health bars have deleted themselves before your very eyes. No magic tricks needed, but Double was there for it all the same. The ace comes through yet again, and TSM stomped all over FlyQuest in Game 1 of the finals.
What a statement from TSM in game number 1. Absolute domination from them.